Hey everyone, and welcome back. Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching suspicion, that cold knot in your stomach telling you something is terribly wrong, even when everything on the surface seems perfect? I'm going to tell you a story about Mark, a man who lived that nightmare. His wife Jessica was the love of his life, his high school sweetheart. They had built a beautiful life together, a life that, from the outside, looked like a fairy tale. But fairy tales are for storybooks. In the real world, secrets have a way of poisoning everything. Mark was a simple man. He was a software engineer who loved his job, but he loved coming home to Jessica even more. She was vibrant, a social butterfly who lit up every room she entered. For years, their life was a comfortable rhythm of work, weekends with friends, and quiet evenings together. Mark trusted her completely, implicitly. Why wouldn't he? She was his everything. But then, small things started to feel off. It wasn't one big event, but a series of tiny, almost unnoticeable cracks in the foundation of their marriage. It started with her phone. Jessica, who once left it lying around without a care, now guarded it like a secret agent. It was always face down on the table, or clutched in her hand. Then came the late nights at work. Jessica was a marketing executive, so overtime wasn't unusual. But suddenly these late nights were happening 3, sometimes 4 times a week. When Mark would call her office, she'd already left. Her excuse? "Oh, we went out for a quick team dinner to de-stress." It sounded plausible, but the excuses started piling up, each one a little less convincing than the last. The real alarm bell rang on their anniversary. Mark had planned a surprise romantic getaway to the same cozy cabin where he'd proposed. He'd been looking forward to it for months. But the week before, Jessica came to him with a somber look on her face. A huge, unavoidable work conference had just come up in another state. "It's for a massive promotion, honey," she'd said, her eyes pleading. "It breaks my heart, but I have to go." Mark, wanting to be a supportive husband, hid his disappointment and told her he understood. He even drove her to the airport, kissing her goodbye as she wheeled her suitcase toward the departure gate. The sting of disappointment was sharp, but his trust, though strained, was still intact. That evening, feeling lonely, Mark decided to do some work on their shared home computer. He was sorting through old files when he saw an email confirmation pop up. It was for a hotel booking. Curiosity got the better of him. He opened it. The hotel wasn't in the city of her work conference. It was for a luxurious beachside resort, just 2 hours down the coast. And the name on the reservation wasn't just Jessica's. There was another name, a name Mark recognized with a jolt of icy dread. David. David was Mark's old college friend, a charismatic, wealthy businessman who had recently reconnected with them. Suddenly, all the small, strange pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. The secret phone calls, the late nights, the sudden distance. It wasn't work. It was David. The world tilted on its axis. Betrayal is a unique kind of pain. It's a fire that burns you from the inside out, turning love to ash. For a moment Mark wanted to scream, to break things, to call her and confront her. But as the initial wave of rage subsided, a cold, chilling calm washed over him. An idea began to form in his mind. He wasn't going to explode. He wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of a messy, dramatic fight. No. He was going to be smarter. He was going to be 3 steps ahead. The first step was gathering undeniable proof. Mark was a software engineer after all. He was methodical, patient, and very, very good with technology. He installed a discreet keylogger on their home computer. He knew it was an invasion of privacy, but their marriage vows had already been shattered. He was just picking up the pieces. Within days, he had everything. He saw the chat logs, filled with flirtatious messages and secret plans. He saw the emails confirming not just this trip, but others. He even found deleted photos, pictures of Jessica and David, laughing together, looking far too comfortable, Each piece of evidence was another twist of the knife in his heart, but it also hardened his resolve. The second step was planning his response. He didn't just want to leave. He wanted Jessica to understand the full weight of her deception. He continued to play the part of the loving, clueless husband. He sent her texts saying, "Miss you, hope the conference is going well," while his stomach churned. He even sent flowers to her office, knowing they'd sit there on her empty desk, a public symbol of his devotion. Meanwhile, he met with the best divorce lawyer in the city. He meticulously documented every asset, every financial statement. He made sure that when the time came, the separation would be swift, clean, and decisively in his favor, thanks to the infidelity clauses in their state's laws. The third and final step was the execution. This was the part that required the most control, the most nerve. Jessica was due back on Sunday evening. On Saturday morning, Mark packed his bags. He took only his personal belongings and the things that truly meant something to him. He then went to the bank and quietly moved his personal inheritance and half of their joint savings into a new, separate account, as his lawyer advised. The house they lived in had been bought with a down payment from his family's inheritance, a fact his lawyer assured him would be very significant. His final act was a masterstroke of cold, calculated precision. He logged into their shared cloud account where Jessica stored all her photos, vacation pictures, family gatherings, everything. He didn't delete them. Instead, he created a new public album. He titled it Jessica's Work Conference. Inside, he uploaded every single screenshot of her chats with David, every hotel confirmation, and every damning photo he had recovered. He then drafted a single, simple email. The recipients were Jessica, David, and a carefully selected list of their closest friends and family. The same people Jessica had lied to for months. The subject line was, "Congratulations." The body of the email contained only a link to the photo album. He scheduled it to be sent at 6 p.m. on Sunday, right around the time she'd be landing. As he walked out of the house for the last time, leaving his key on the kitchen counter, Mark didn't feel angry anymore. He just felt empty. But it was the kind of emptiness that comes before a new beginning. He drove to a new apartment he'd already leased, a simple place that was all his. At 6 p.m., his phone buzzed. The email was sent. He imagined Jessica's phone lighting up as she landed, tired from her romantic getaway. He pictured her opening the email, her face draining of color as she realized her entire world of lies had just imploded. He imagined the frantic calls from her friends, her family, and the deafening silence from David, who would be busy doing damage control of his own. Mark turned his phone off. He didn't need to see the fallout. He had his proof. He had his freedom. And he had his dignity. He had lost his wife, but in the process, he had found himself again. The road ahead would be long, but for the first time in months, it was a road he was walking on his own terms, 3 steps ahead of the past. This story is a powerful reminder that while we can't control the actions of others, we can control our own. Mark chose strategy over chaos, and in doing so, he reclaimed his life. If you've ever faced a betrayal, know that your strength is greater than your pain. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.